welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be discussing Beast Storm, Kiss Me Baby by Morry Kuroi. Now before we get started, there will be spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled on this manga, go ahead and click off now. No worries, I'll catch you next time. Now for those of you left behind, let's go over some content warnings. There may be references to cheating, sexual assault, and violence, as these things do appear in this manga. Now, if all that's good for you, let's go ahead and get started. As always, let's start out with a quick synopsis. Akira Miyagi is no longer that gloomy single bestia he was approximately a year ago. Instead, he's come into his own as a bestia and partner. Despite his distrust and dislike of bestia, he's now married to his partner Sugo, and as fate would have it, he's even given birth to their son Shota. While he's overjoyed with the turn his life has taken, it has only gotten much more complicated with the addition of a husband, a child, and now a new earless coworker at work. With life only becoming busier and busier, it's becoming much more complicated for Akira to be the best partner, mother, and doctor he can be. As he suspects Shugo might be seeing other bestia on the side, Akira feels like he's failing on all fronts, and those negative feelings toward bestia begin to rear their ugly heads again. Before he even realizes it, he relies heavily on his earless coworker and Sugo's friend for comfort. Can Akira do it all, or is Akira destined for failure because he is a bestia? Now, just as it was with the first iteration of the series, Beast Storm, the art is impeccable. Our main character, Akira, does look more mature, as one would expect after some time. I mean, granted, he's now married and they have a child together, so plenty of time has passed for changes to occur. I'd even say the same for Sugo, who looks much better this time around, in my opinion. However, the real winner in all of this is their baby Shota. He is one of the cutest babies I've ever seen in any manga, especially with the added ears and tail. He is to die for. And if you aren't going to read this for any other reason, Shota is a great one. Now, while the core of the story is based on Akira's self-consciousness over being bestia, being concerned that he isn't enough for his partner, and making sure he's a good mother to their child, all while being a reliable physician, where this really shines to me is in the child rearing. One of my favorite parts of male pregnancy is the child rearing aspect, and I was not disappointed in the least when it comes to this volume. There are so many charming and heartfelt moments where Sugo and Akira are raising Shota that it makes your teeth rot from all the sweetness. Shota eating, singing, and dancing, playing with toys, and even whining and crying are all precious moments we get to see. It's a feast for the eyes and the heart for sure. It's also nice to see different sides of Akira and Sugo as they transition from single people to married people and then to parents. Seeing them grow together and assimilate into these different roles is really fun. It is worth noting, at least for the Fukiya version of this, I'm not sure that it's anywhere else at the moment, but if it does come out anywhere else, in the Fukiya version at least, there is actually a story that isn't part of the Beast Storm series, which is unfortunate. It isn't even part of the same world and is an entirely separate story titled Enjoy Delicious. I would usually enjoy additional stories, especially from an artist as good as Morry Kuroi. Still, it was pretty disappointing since this volume is so short, especially with the 2 chapters dedicated to this random extra. I would have much rather there had been more Beast Storm universe content, but that's just my preference. That's not to say the extra story Enjoy Delicious is bad, but it certainly wasn't the best, nor do I think the main story was all that great, both of which are due to the length of each respective story, I think. Unfortunately though, while the first Beast Storm was mildly superficial, this next entry in the series is even more so with its even shorter length. Don't get me wrong, I loved the fluffy child rearing, but that's almost all we get, minus the tiny bit of tension we get as Akira worries over whether or not Sugo's cheating on him since he's gone back to work after giving birth. I like that concept, but there are so few chapters to develop it that it feels like it's over before it even really begins, especially since some time is spent introducing an entirely new character and then doing very little to develop him in the end. Now, with all that being said, and having read the rest of the series currently available in English, I would call this a foundation filler volume. It's a nice little extra to introduce us to some new characters, lay the groundwork for future plot lines, and tempt us with fluff and a touch of smut, which is always welcome. It's a must-read if you plan on continuing this series, but as an individual story on its own, I wouldn't say it was all that worth the time. However, Shota is definitely the carrier for this volume and is well worth it. I can't wait to review the rest of the series for you. There's so much more fun stuff to talk about. So, have you read Beast Storm, Kiss Me Baby? If so, what do you think? Do you agree with my assessment? Do you not? Let me know and comment below. Otherwise, I'll catch you next time. Bye!